there, my name's Alan Ware. I'm the restaurant manager at the restaurant at Neethlingshof. Today I've got Brendan, our head chef, with us. He's going to be preparing a great curry for us. Beautiful day today, but it has been cold, so curry is definitely what we're looking for in the winter time. And yeah, Brendan, you can take us through the motions and I'll cook it up with you.
Alright, cool. So today we'll be making a Massaman Beef Curry using a beef brisket with some side dishes as well. We'll be doing the curry paste from scratch as well, so you get the whole experience from a traditional point of view. Yeah, so we can get started with the beef brisket first. It's the part that takes the longest, so we want to get that in the oven first. We're going to make a basic mirepoix base for your roasting dish, and we'll season the brisket, put a bit of water in there, cover with foil, and we will bake it at about 150 degrees for 2 hours at first. We'll check it after 2 hours and then keep it going at half an hour increments until it's nice and soft and the knife goes in very smoothly. All right. Okay, so to start with the brisket, we have, well, I'm using shallots over here. You can use white onions, red onions as well, but we'll be using this for the curry paste, so we're just going to utilize the whole pack that we have. You're going to cut it quite roughly. You want it to be big because you don't want it to cook and mush into a soupy texture. It's basically there to protect the bottom of the brisket in the pan. You don't want to start burning or crisping at the bottom. It's also going to add a nice flavor as it steams inside here and cooks. So as you can see, nice and chunky. Don't worry too much about that. Onion, carrots and celery, which is your kind of traditional standard mix. We'll put a couple of cloves of garlic in as well, just for good measure. Can only do good. There we go, 1, 2, 3. And then the brisket we season. We're doing it plain with salt and pepper. I don't want to make the brisket too complicated in flavor because all of our flavor is going to come from the curry. So we just want to have that nice natural meat flavor coming out of here. Okay. Right, so now in there, 1 cup of water covered with foil and in the oven as we spoke about. Okay, so we're going to start our curry paste now. We have about 250 grams of shallots, 6 cloves of garlic. These we will cut up. Don't worry too much about the skin because we'll peel them off just before we blend the paste together. We're just going to cut it into quarters. And then we're going to char it in a nice hot pan with a little bit of oil. We want to get it nice and dark because this curry, the paste is nice and dark and toasty, and that's where your flavor comes from naturally. So we got this, and then the garlic we're just going to bash up because just want to open it up. Once again, also don't worry too much about the skin, we'll sort that out later. Okay. And 1 more. So after we toasted that in a dry pan, we'll also toast the rest of the spice ingredients. So we've got dried chilli, cumin, coriander, black pepper, a little bit of nutmeg, cardamom pods, sour anise and cloves, peanuts, ginger and lemongrass. Okay, so let's start with our paste here. We have the shallots and garlic, which you're going to put into a nice hot pan with a little bit of oil. And you're just going to cook them in here, toss them around, keep them going until they're nice and dark. Dry spices and the peanuts can go into a dry pan, and we are going to toast them as well. It's important to toast your dry spices as it brings out the flavor and aroma, which is what we want. Alright, so this will take a little while. Just keep tossing it around like that, keep it cooking, and this over a nice medium, keep tossing it around until it's nice and toasty. Be careful not to burn the spices. Okay, so now we're moving on to the curry paste. As you can see, we have roasted the shallots, got a nice color on there, pulled off any excess skin. The garlic as well will just pop right out of the skin. And there we go. So we got our shallots and garlic in the blender jug at the moment. So if we missed anything, one piece of that and some garlic, and we're done. Okay. Then I have the lemongrass and ginger, and our toasted spice mixes and peanuts. So we're going to put this in the blender now, blend it to a paste. You might need a little bit of water, a couple of tablespoons, just to moisten it enough to blend, but we'll see how it goes once in the blender. All right?
Take me to the place where I'm surrounded by your light.
Okay, so we're blending the curry paste now. I'm lucky enough to have a Thermomix to use, but not everyone is so lucky. So you can use any kind of blender, a bar blender, a Magimix, even a hand blender. You just got to get it as fine and smooth as possible. So we're gonna start here.
So far, burden, heavy, those are empty, feet up, steady. So far, it's a long time, been a long time, since I seen the sunlight. Got me thinking about you, baby.
Okay, so I do actually
Can
need a
we
little
just
bit of
start
water here.
over? Can we just rewind? Take me to the place where I'm surrounded by your light. Can we just start over?
So I've added a little bit of water just to help it to turn, because the more it turns, the smoother you're going to get. The water we're going to toast it more in the pot before we do the sauce, so we'll cook all that water out. It's not a problem. Okay, so we're going to move on to the sauce now. We have a half a cup of curry paste, some more aromatics. We've got cinnamon, ginger and lemongrass under there. We've got palm sugar, tamarind paste, fish sauce and lime juice, which is all going to help with the balancing of finding that balance between your heat, your sweet and your acidity, which is what all about the Thai style curries are. Now, if you'll notice, we have a lot of curry paste left over because you always want to make a bit more. You can put this into 2 bags now into your freezer, and then you have for next time. Okay, so first things first, you're going to get your pot on, a little bit of oil in here, medium heat, and we're going to start toasting our curry spice a bit more. So let's get it in here. And keep it moving around. Give it, so you cook it evenly. Keep going until it's nice and dark. You really want this is one of the steps that are really going to start building the flavor of the curry. So don't be in a rush. Just keep stirring. Keep it moving on a medium heat. Get it nice and dark. Okay, so I'm happy with the color now. As you'll see, there's a sediment catching on the bottom of the pot, which is nice. That's where a lot of the flavor is. We're going to scrape all that off once the coconut milk goes in now. So we can add coconut. Now, with your wooden spoon, just give it a good stir, press on the bottom, and lift up all of that sediment that's caught there. You want to get all of that into the milk. It's a good flavor, that one.
So the best part about cooking at home, of course, is you can enjoy wine with it. So Brendan and I are going to enjoy our Neethlingshof 6 flowers while he's cooking up a pork storm. And with the curry itself, the spiciness, our Gewürztraminer, if you prefer the white red wine, or our Cabernet Merlot blend will go great with the curry. So here you go, Brendan.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So one of our condiments we'll be making to go with the curry is pickled cucumber. So in here I'm going to be making a pretty standard pickle. You've got 3 ingredients, 1 part of each. So I've got half a cup of sugar, half a cup of spirit vinegar and half a cup of water. I'll bring this to the boil and then I will let it cool down a little bit, pour it over the cucumber ribbons and let it sit for about half an hour to get a pickled cucumber. Okay, so we're going to pickle the cucumber now. I have grated the ribbons and stopped as I got to the seeds in the middle because they're very watery. When you put them in a pickle, they're just going to fall apart. The pickle I've boiled and reduced it down to about medium temperature. I don't want it too hot because the cucumber is so thin already. Now I'm going to put it in the pickle and then just swirl it around, mix it around, make sure that it's evenly coated and covered. And then I'm going to put that to the side and let it sit for minimum half an hour while you're getting everything else ready. All right. Okay, so we are making our salad to go with the curry now. The curry is quite rich and you need that kind of freshness to break it, which helps balance the whole dish. So we got a beautiful fresh salad here of spring onion, coriander, mange tout, and bean sprouts. And just before we serve, we will just dress it with a bit of lime juice. And that's all you need really. So you will have your curry, your rice, your pickled cucumber, and a nice fresh salad. And then that will complete the dish. Okay, so we're going to have a look at our brisket now. It should be done. And this is kind of what you're going to expect to see. Slight coloring over there. It mustn't be too dry in there. And then yeah, we're going to let this cool down, let it cool down completely, chill it, and cut it into slices, and then from there into cubes to put into the curry. Okay, so the curry sauce is now finished. What I did after adding the coconut milk, I added the lemongrass, ginger, and cinnamon sticks. Then I've been balancing the flavor with lime juice, palm sugar, tamarind paste, and fish sauce. So this part's really going to be up to you and tasting all the time. I added about 4 teaspoons of the tamarind paste. You could probably say about 15 ml of fish sauce. 1 of these rounds of palm sugar and almost a whole lime of juice. Things will vary, so just add about half of that, cook it for a while, taste it, and keep tasting until you feel the balance is right between your salty, your sweet, and your sour. Okay. Now I'm going to strain it off through a fine strainer, get all those bits and pieces out, all of the paste, all of the spices, so you're going to have a nice smooth creamy sauce. Okay, so we're going to make some jasmine rice to go with the curry now. In here I've got 1.5 cups of the rice. I'm going to add 3 cups of water, because when making this rice the ratio is a 1:2 of rice to water. I will bring it to the boil. Once it's boiling, I'm going to turn the heat down to the minimum, put a lid on, and cook it like that for 10 to 15 minutes. I'll keep an eye on it every now and then until all the water is gone. After that, I'll steam it with the lid on for a little bit longer, put it into a colander and rinse it. And then you'll have a nice sticky soft jasmine rice. Okay, so we're going to finish off our main element of the curry now. We have the strained sauce in here, nice and smooth and creamy. The brisket took about 4 hours in the end. I cooled it down completely, cut it into cubes. I've got about 600 grams here, so we're cooking for 4 people. You're looking at about 150 grams per person of meat is safe. Baby potatoes, I have boiled and peeled and cut them into quarters. You don't have to peel them. I got a bit carried away, but it's up to you. Baby pak choi, I just cut in half. We'll put that in right at the end. It'll take about 1 minute to 2 minutes in the hot curry sauce to cook. You don't want to cook it too long so it goes limp. It must still be nice and crunchy. Okay, so I'm going to do all that now. We can start adding the meat. And then the meat will still be nice and soft. So we'll cook it for about 5 minutes in the hot sauce. And once that's nice and hot, then we'll add the potatoes, add the pak choi, and then we'll plate up. Okay. So this is a dish which I was conceptualizing for our restaurant menu before we were forced to close. And with the latest news and with us possibly opening again, you should keep an eye out for it. Come visit us and maybe you'll find it on the menu. Hope to see you soon.